Good morning. I think a lot of you have been here before and years before, so you'll know we have a tradition. Every year, about 2 weeks before the conference, I swear I'm going to get my speech done long in advance. And then every year I mull it over, never putting words to page. And then, any distraction that I can clutch at, I grab. If you ever need anything from me, call the week before the conference. I will gladly help you. Do you need to have ideas about Medicaid reform in Maine? Please, I'd love to talk. You need somebody to get out of a nursing home into supportive housing? I would love to help. I'll go pick them up. But anything but right. And then the night before, I find I'm in the same position. And then after the Mets game is over, and this year they won, I start writing. I start thinking about what I've been thinking all that time, but I actually try to get it onto the page. And then I arrive, and Bill basically says everything I was going to say. This year, it was slightly different. As Bill, the great board chair that he is, he sent me his speech beforehand, and you can imagine my relief when I read that he was going to talk about liminality. A word I've never even heard of, liminality. Once you've heard, it's hard not to say. I think I'd like to hear it. Everybody say liminality. One more time. See, okay, that's the first time, I think, in history today that we've had this many people all say liminality, so I'm very happy. So I'm going to give the same speech, but I'm going to say it, since I read newspapers instead of books, I'm going to say it a lot more simply, despite that now being my new favorite word. Yes, this is indeed a transformative time. Yes, everything is on the table. Everything is at risk. We can't take anything for granted. The very foundation of supportive housing and the whole infrastructure of care is up to question right now. It's a scary time. The way supportive housing providers are paid for services, Medicaid redesign is questioning and reevaluating all of that. The gold standard of Section 8 that we've all depended on to fund our buildings, sequestration has seriously undermined that. Even with tax reform, we don't even know what's going to happen to the low-income housing tax credit. We've got a new mayor. We have all sorts of things coming to question, and it's a very scary, uncertain time. Bill, you may call it liminal. I don't have such good vocabulary, but I'm tempted to use another word. I can't say it out loud, but it begins with cluster. That said, Bill is right, as usual. We've got a moment here, we have an opportunity here to really see transformative change, and we can achieve this transformative change. I think a good thing to do in times like these is to look back at what 30 years ago, when supportive housing was first created. It wasn't easy times. We had blocks and blocks of our cities were nothing more than vacant lots and burned out buildings. We had, for the first time in living memory, people with mental illness living on the streets. We had people, the institutions that housed them closing, and the SRO hotels that they had found refuge in were also being changed and being taken away from them. Cities were looking at bankruptcy. I mean, it was tough times. And what did we do? We created this model, supportive housing, that did more to improve the quality of life of people with mental illness and other barriers to independence than anything in the history of the world. I mean, it's really something that we achieved. And we achieved it in very difficult times. So this is another one of those times where everything is up for question. But we can do an awful lot of good with a time like this. When everybody's questioning things, everybody's open for new ideas. And supportive housing is one of the best new ideas out there. So we can achieve these things, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to happen overnight. But we're going to turn these threats into opportunities. It starts at this conference today. To be successful, we'll need to be honest about what supportive housing does well and what we can do better. We're going to need to tell our stories, and we're going to need to organize. Presenters at today's panels are going to show us how. First, we have a number of workshops that take an honest look at what makes a successful supportive housing program, from working with youth, from serving mixed tenancies to housing active substance abusers. We have something for everyone, and there's some really great experts on there. We worry that some of these discussions might be too honest to have allowed at a big public event like this, but we need to have them. And so we're going to make ourselves better by talking about this and really figuring out what is it that works? Why is it that supportive housing has been so successful at saving money and improving quality of care, quality of life? And what is it that we can do better? Second, the stories. From Svante Myrick, our keynote speaker, the mayor of Ithaca, to ISIS, America's Next Top Model, to Jim O'Connell, Arturo Ben Dixon from out of town that have done wonderful things for healthcare for homeless people, to Randy Frost, Dr. Randy Frost, who is the expert on hoarding. There is something to learn at every one of these panels. I've named just a few, but I guarantee you every panel this year is a winner. And I really tell you, drink deeply of this cup, because there are a lot of things. I almost really want to have this conference all over again so you could see 4 more panels, almost. But it's a lot of work, and thanks to the staff for making that happen. Finally, we have to organize. We've done a good job of educating elected officials, government partners, other thought leaders on the importance of safe, affordable, and stable housing, but we have to do more. We have to reach out to a lot of people that don't even know what supportive housing is still. It's hard to believe in this room, but the fact is, we have a lot of educating to do. In your package, you will see some handouts for campaigns that are very worthwhile. I encourage you to get involved. United to End Homelessness focuses on what the next mayor can do about homelessness. Housing First, the affordable housing campaign, has just come out with our platform for the next mayor on how they can build, whoever it is, build and create and preserve 150,000 new and old units of supportive housing over the next 8 years. We need that plan. We need your help in pushing it across and getting it to be part of the public dialogue. There's also information about the United for Homes campaign in Washington, which seeks to talk about tax reform and reforming the mortgage interest deduction, and using that to fund the National Housing Trust Fund. If we can get that National Housing Trust Fund funded, it's a whole new ball game. That's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars for affordable housing development. These campaigns have somebody out there at the tables. You can go up, talk to them. Please sign your organization on to these. There's already hundreds of organizations have signed on, but we need hundreds more. We also have Barb Broussard from the Center on Budget Policy and Priorities proposing a renter's tax credit. We have all sorts of great ideas swirling around here. So I encourage you to enjoy all that's being offered today. And when you take what you've learned, bring it back to your programs, make your programs better, get out there, get organized, get on the streets, tell people about what we're doing and what we need to do. We need to go to Washington. We need to get all that we know about supportive housing heard by the people that have the power to change things. So thank you very much for being here, and I encourage you to do all you can. Thank you.